inspire.
Welcome back to Starting Now. I'm your host, Jeff Sarris. This is the show where I talk to entrepreneurs and creatives of all types to reveal the unexpected paths to where they are today. Today, my guest is Cal Jepps, better known as Waxbones. Cal is an amazing artist, blending this retro style with almost like a whimsical style with like some of this macabre, dark vibes. He explains it earlier in the episode, and I really hope you look into his stuff because I think you're going to absolutely love it. But this was a wonderful conversation where we dive into his origin story, as we do, but then we talk about everything from the artist's perspective, like relationships and how to build your community and relationships, but also keeping things equitable between a developer and an artist. And he shares some insight into a new project that he is pursuing that really changes the game when it comes to minting and sort of the role of the dice with a new mint. This is a great conversation. I don't want to blabber on any longer. Without further ado, my conversation with Cal Jepps, also known as Waxbones.
I actually, when I got into NFTs, I changed my work hours. So now I start work at 6:30 in the morning, then I work until about 3, pick my daughter up from school, do whatever, and then work pretty much the evening, like through into the evening until I get tired. And then, so I'm kind of working 2 full-time jobs at the moment. 3 if you include being a dad.
Yeah, that is a lot to juggle for sure. And so what kind of things, because you're doing a lot in NFTs and collaborations, because I came across your work first with Savage Droids or Dogs, but Savage Droids, that project, and you did the puzzle pieces and everything. What types of things are sort of taking up the bulk of your day currently?
At the moment, I'm doing a few more collabs with some other artists, and then I'm working on my own projects, but a lot of the artwork for that sort of thing is already done. We're at like the developer stage, so it's like the next big thing I'm going to do is not necessarily a generative project, but it has like the skeleton of that in a way.
Nice.
Like, but I'm hoping we can do something different with it, like make it very art focused and less random. Like a lot of the gen projects are just a lottery. I feel like, like you might get something that's worth something, you might get something a bit naff. So I kind of want to make it so that everything is a piece of valuable art that someone can get.
Nice. Is there anything you can share about it that isn't too spoiler, like on sort of what the different angle is?
So it depends if we can do what I want to do, but I want to kind of put the design into the hands of the collector. So rather than it being a piece that is just random and it might not represent you, I want to give the puzzle pieces to the collector and then they create their own profile picture or whatever it might be. I'm kind of treating it like a Frankenstein's lab. So these characters are all parts of different creatures that you can sort of meld together.
Nice. I really like that. And would that be something at Mint? Like ideally in your vision, would you see at Mint they're piecing it together?
Yeah. So it would be a bit like a character creator in a video game almost. And then as soon as you hit yes, that's it, then it mints it through the contract and you've got this one of one and that locks off that combination.
That's really cool. And like how far along is that in terms of working with developers and whatnot?
So like I said, the art's already there. The developer side, I'm speaking to a few different developers at the moment. One of them, actually the guys that did Savage Droids and all their fusion chambers and stuff, they're working on a new platform. So it might be that becomes the place for it to live,
Nice. Yeah, very cool.
But who knows? I've got a vision. I don't know how to make it happen other than drawing pictures, but
Uh-huh.
someone will be able to make it work.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, especially that team. Like what they've done with Savage Droids is amazing, and how they have like the fusion chamber and all these things that like I'm sure if anyone can tackle that, I'm sure they could. I love that
Yeah,
idea. Yeah, because it's a unique spin, completely unique spin on all of it.
yeah,
But then when you lock it down, like you said, like no one can make another one of that exact
yeah,
combination. It brings back the rarity. It keeps everything going in a way where, yeah, it's so collector driven. So even the
yeah.
rarities are collector driven because if people love this creature, say whatever it is, then that one will be less rare inherently. It's
Yeah.
interesting. That's a really interesting dynamic. I like that a
I mean,
lot.
that's what I'm really interested in. I could draw 1,000 different traits and only 100 of them ever get used, and there'd just be a bucket of unused artwork, which I actually
Yeah.
find kind of interesting. Like,
Yeah, it's very fascinating.
yeah.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether it's going to work in that exact way. Like in an
Oh yeah.
ideal world, that's how I think it should work. Whether we can do that or whether there are some compromises along the way, I don't know. But I mean, the idea, I'm excited about it, and I love the designs because it's just an opportunity for me to go a bit mad with it.
Uh-huh. Definitely. So then is if a lot of the design is sort of ready to go, how much are you looking at in terms of like quantity? So like, oh, because you're drawing all different attributes and all different characters and whatnot.
Yeah, I think because it's going to be very art driven, I think this is going to be a bit more of a premium collectible. So it might be that we're talking like 200 maybe or
Nice.
500, like not a huge amount, but enough that my loyal collectors can like get involved, but then also hopefully it'll attract some new people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it has that. It's in that sort of area where there's enough for like I think enough for like liquidity because a lot of investors want liquidity and that's why they like 10K projects and this and that because you can sort of get in and out and invest in things. So it's nice because that's a scale that you wouldn't like be able to do one of ones at any sort of reasonable pace. I mean, like doing hundreds
Yeah,
of those. I mean, that takes a long time, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah.
So your style is so cool. Like I really like it. It has like this
Oh, thank you.
retro vibe and it's so distinctly you in a way that like doesn't always happen. There's something about I can't even really quantify it, but do you have any sort of way to describe like your type of art or style?
I think that I feel like someone once said that it looks like I'm juxtaposing the whimsical with the macabre, and I feel like I take a lot of my influence in terms of the style from 30s rubber hose cartoons, like old Disney stuff, but then also it's kind of influenced by blackwork tattoos and stuff like that, so I'm kind of bringing the Disney-esque and meshing it together with the dark skulls and things like that. And I think that's kind of where my work sits at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, it really has that throwbacky vibe that it's so appealing. There's just something about that with the bold lines and colors and things that like yeah, I don't know. I'm just gushing over it. Sorry. I just really
No, no,
like
thank
that
you.
look. It's just very cool. Did you have any sort of earlier inspiration that maybe led you to this style? I guess we could just sort of dive into your origin story and where you came from because I know you were doing silk screening on record slip mats. That was the first sort of thing that I see sort of publicly that you were
Yeah.
doing as like an entrepreneurial endeavor. But I'd like to rewind even maybe a little further. And who were you younger? Did you see yourself as an artist? And where did you see yourself going?
Yeah. So my dad, he worked at a power station, like a nuclear power station. But when I was a kid, he was doing a degree in fine art. So there was always art around the house. I was always very interested in drawing, and I don't think I'd always draw silly little characters and things like that, cartoons. So art was always a big thing in our family. And then I think I just always wanted to be an artist or for a while I wanted to be an animator, and then as I went through school, I got through school with very average grades, and then went to university for, I did a foundation course, which I don't know if you have that in the US, but it's like it's 1 year, and you kind of test out lots of different creative subjects. So you
nice.
do a month doing fine art, a month doing fashion, graphic design, whatever else, photography. And that's kind of where I fell in love with graphic design, and that being very particular and anal about everything that you're doing and grids, and that like really appealed to me. So then I went to university and studied graphic design, got into my job at City ID pretty much immediately after graduating. It was funny actually, because they had gone to our end of year exhibition and contacted all of the guys that I was living with at the time, saying, "Oh, we're looking for recent graduates to hire. You know, do you want to come in for an interview?" But they didn't message me.
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, I'm not having this. I'm going to message them." And then from that, I've been there for nearly 10 years now. So
nice.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible as a career. I've managed to. I lived in New York for a bit, been to Moscow quite a few times, in San Francisco. I've traveled the world just designing maps and signs and wayfinding and strategizing how people move around a place.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really cool. So is that like a crossover with sort of GIS, like geographic information systems? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So we embed a lot of GIS into the maps that we draw as well, so that they can be digitized, and a lot of councils and things use it for asset management and stuff like that. So and then with that, I think I've always inherently been very particular at like using line weights, using consistent line weights all the time, consistent spacing, that sort of thing. And I think that's kind of where my illustration style started to head towards, because I only ever really use a couple of line weights in my work. And then, so that's all great. I still love what I do. And then I think over lockdown, I'd always continued drawing. And then over lockdown, I just started doing it more and more, and decided to actually start using social media, which I hadn't really done.
Yeah.
And then my mate Gavin Strange, who goes by Jam Factory, he's also an NFT artist and works at Aardman Animation. He posted something online about this like amazing print that he'd done, and he said, "Oh, it goes free with his NFT." I messaged him and I was like, "That print is so good. What the hell is an NFT?"
Yeah. And like, what month was this about?
This was January this year.
Yeah.
So from that, he sent me some stuff, like helped get me involved. And then Known Origin actually contacted me directly and said, "Oh, we've seen your work. We know you know Gav. Do you want to join the platform?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." At the time, I don't think I'd really understood what that meant for a platform like Known Origin to actually reach out to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So then I think I spent a few weeks learning and trying to understand it, because it was all foreign to me, and following people on Twitter and just beginning to become part of the conversation. I didn't want to just drop something and
just have it out there in the ether, just not really doing anything.
Exactly. And then I went to mint something, and it was asking me about gas. I was like, "Oh God, I don't know what this means." So I have to go back to the drawing board and start to re-evaluate how much I want to put in. I think at the time gas was only about £60, which is like $50 or something. Mm-hmm. Which looking back now is so cheap. But at the time,
it's crazy right now.
Yeah. Really crazy. At the time, I was kind of scared to put £50 into something that I wasn't really sure would work out, So I just bit the bullet. I minted my Genesis, and it went in a day. I think
Wow.
I minted 5 editions of the same thing, and they all sold. And it turned out that they had sold to like big people, like Brian Brinkman bought one,
Nice.
and from there it's just snowballed and it's gone mad. It's gone
Yeah.
absolutely mad.
Yeah, that's amazing. And would you say then those first collectors found you because of social media, because of known origin, maybe some amalgamation of both?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I think back then there was a lot of shill threads, and so being inexperienced and had about 100 followers on Twitter, I was posting on all of them. I was that annoying person, like shilling on everything. So I honestly have no idea. Maybe I'll ask one of them one day how they came across
Yeah,
my work.
it's always like an interesting thing, but yeah, I mean that's what it takes. Like even the shilling, like just getting out there and connecting with people in some sort of way because people need to discover you.
Yeah.
There isn't like the discoverability built into this because it's so self-controlled now, self
Yeah,
driven. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And I think that like just being part of the conversation is probably the best way that you can market yourself, like rather than jumping into someone's DMs and saying, hi, check out this piece of work.
Yeah.
Like tell people that you like their work, like go into these conversations without any, without any want of someone buying your work, just do it because you like the person or because you want to have a laugh.
Yeah, it's so important because it's real, it's true relationship building. I know a lot of times online people sort of lose that. Like you wouldn't walk up to someone on the street and just be like, buy this. It's like, that'd just be so weird. I mean, maybe some people will, but like no matter what, we know that is strange. But online, it's completely different because the DMs, whether on Discord or Twitter or whatever, people are always shilling and always just like, oh, look at this. I think you'll like this. Like clearly templates that they're just copy pasting, and it's unfortunate because it's not what this space is about, and it sort of shows when people don't really get it right away. But it takes time. It takes time to sort of learn and see like how the ecosystem, how the community works at large.
It is new, and that's why people are making that. And I think it's okay to make these mistakes. And I think someone jumped into my DMs and just sent me their Discord and some artwork, and I said to them, your artwork is amazing, I really like it, but maybe think about doing it in a different way. Like don't just randomly jump into someone you don't know's DMs and start trying to sell them.
And that's
they
good.
took that on board,
What was that?
They took that on board, I think, and
Excellent.
so that's good.
Yeah, and that's really good that you said that too, because like just that constructive criticism, say, because if they already have great work, you don't want their activities to sort of tarnish that, because they're doing the side of things that they really know and understand and like they've embraced. So yeah, it's really good. And I saw that you hadn't touched Procreate until November of last year. Is that right?
That is true. That is absolutely true.
That blows my mind. Like it feels like you're a seasoned like digital illustrator just because of everything that I've seen.
No, I mean I've worked using like tablets and Illustrator, and I do most of my work stuff on Illustrator, so that's kind of where I was drawing beforehand, and then just like Sharpies and paper. And then I think I just treated myself to an iPad and started playing, and that was that. I mean, the program is so easy to use.
Yeah, it is so intuitive. Like it's amazing just the degree of just the quality of what's there for pennies. Like it costs basically nothing. And that's the stuff like the tablets you're using, like that you've used with Illustrator, all of that was so expensive before that I love that the barrier to entry is so much lower.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can use it, and anyone can, like my 5-year-old daughter plays with it and draws her own things and stuff. It just works,
Yeah, for sure. So like as you started out, you made your first sales. Where did you sort of did you have any vision for where you could see this going? Because like I know right now you have the full-time job and the full-time job of NFTs, but you've done very well as Waxbones, as like the artist. And like did you have a vision going in of where you thought it could end up?
Not at all. I was because I came into the space not knowing, like you just said, I would only been drawing on an iPad for 2 months or so when I first started.
Uh-huh.
So I was literally doing it for fun, and that was the best time for me because there was no pressure to make money. At the time, I mean, things were selling out in a matter of hours because everyone was buying NFTs back in March.
Yeah.
So I was honestly just having fun, and it was the first time that I didn't have a client. I could do whatever I wanted, and people would latch onto it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, so I didn't have any plans, and I still don't really have a full plan. I'm just, I said it the other day, I'm throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And so far it's worked out.
Definitely. Well, yeah, because I mean, you're creating beautiful artwork. Like, it's amazing work. And then, yeah, you're experimenting and dabbling with collaborations and all these different things. It's the way to do it because no one knows, like, what this is yet, where this is going. We're still so early, even though it feels like it's been years. Like, anyone that I talk to, it's like, oh, I've been in NFTs for a while, and it's like January, March, or May, and it's like, but it's just funny. It's so mind bending because that is a long time in this space because it's day one still. It's just wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Had you been doing any sort of other entrepreneurial? Because I consider that, like, this is art, but it's also entrepreneurial at the same time. Had you been doing other entrepreneurial endeavors previously? Because, like I mentioned with that, the record slip mat. Like, I saw that, and that was a beautiful art piece that was a product that you were selling. Had you been doing any other dabbling in anything else like that?
Yeah, I tried a few things over the years, t-shirt printing and seeing if anyone would latch onto them, and no one ever did. And like doing print, I've got a loft full of stuff. But because I was never that into social media, I just don't think I really had the audience for any of these things. Like even the slip mats was the first one where I thought I had an idea. I wanted to do limited edition designs. I'd hand screen print them onto the felt slip mats because I've got a big record collection, and I'd always thought that is just a blank canvas most of the time.
Yeah.
So you could do something cool with it. So then we got a load. Me and I've got a friend that works at a screen printing business, and we got them done, printed them up. And that's where the name Waxbones came from, actually, because my thought process was the records, they used to be like wax, they're called wax records, and then the bones are like what holds it up. So the slip mat is what's holding the wax.
Nice.
And that just kind of stuck.
It's a great brand name. Like, even just like in this space, it evokes a feeling. It's funny because I feel like the name actually sort of evokes your artwork in like how it looks and feels somehow. Like it works together.
Yeah. I would love to say that it's all deliberate, but honestly, it's just random. It's coincidence.
Well, yeah, and that's just how it goes too. It's like taking action is so important. So, like, you took those actions, you developed this brand, and you're just on a different path than you originally like set out to be on. And I just noticed when you're sleeving up, you have a bone down the sleeve too. I really like that. Like,
oh, I'm representing Waxbones right now. We've got the bone, literal Waxbones on that side. We've got OFIO on the other side. And then the back is actually augmented reality. So
what does that mean?
So you can, I don't know if I'm this is going to be embarrassing now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's that piece that is currently on display at Dreamverse right now.
Oh, very cool.
But you can hold up the phone app to the back, and it will show the animation in augmented reality.
That's wild. So are you selling this merch?
This is a collaboration with Meta Factory, and I think they did a run of 150, and I think there's some size mediums and size large left, but only a handful.
Oh yeah, that is very cool. I love that. I love the opportunity. I love sort of thinking about the opportunity of melding the NFT world with the real world, because like it's identity. Like we connect with these things as an identity, and then having merch, having whether it's prints or like whatever it is, there's so many different niches that I feel like people just haven't explored yet. So I love I love bringing the augmented reality into that, because that is an amazing piece. I love that piece. Like when I've seen it online, I can only imagine holding a phone up to it and seeing it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
really...
no, I really like doing like trying to pair it with something physical, because I think there is still, I think when screens become cheap enough that you can actually display your NFTs in your house, then that'll be a game changer. But right now, it's really difficult to show it in the real world.
Yeah.
So I really like the idea that I think I've done since starting. I've done 3 different augmented reality T-shirts, and they've gone so quickly. And I just love the idea that, you know, there's a guy in Canada that's walking around with one of my T-shirts, and they're just, I don't know, in the pub doing the augmented reality. I just like to be able to reward people for like believing in my art, you know, and if I can do that with sending them a T-shirt, then, you know, I will.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure there's people at NFT NYC right now this week walking around wearing your merch, because that is, it's such a cool thing. So. Oh yeah, I'm sure of it. Just yeah, that is awesome. I really like it. Do you envision then sort of a path where you're going to go completely full time? Because this is a lot to juggle, as you mentioned. Do you sort of do you have that goal of going completely full time as Waxbones, or so where are you at right now?
Yeah, I think I do. That is my path now, I think.
Yeah.
When it will happen, I think it's one of those things where I've got a mortgage and a child to look after and stuff, and cryptocurrency is great, but, you know, I don't know how much tax I'm going to have to pay at the end of the year on all of this, and it's hard enough getting it. And like, how much do I want to cash out at any one time? So I think my plan at the moment is next year, I am going to cut down to 3 or 4 days a week at my actual job.
Nice.
And then concentrate on building something bigger. But that could all change, you know, like some of these more generative projects that I'm working on and bigger collabs and stuff. That could be the one moment that changes everything. Who knows? Like, everything changes in a second in this space, doesn't it?
It really does. It is. Yeah, it is just unbelievable. I can't grasp it, because like moving through like the entrepreneurial space, everything takes so much longer. I don't know if you hear that, but I think someone's blowing off fireworks, which is very random right now. I hear it out like through the wall. So that's interesting. But anyway, but yeah, the stuff moves. Like, I'm used to helping people build businesses, and it's like, oh yeah, just you have maybe a 18-month runway of what you're expecting to grow and to change and adapt and learn from the market. And in this, that is practically 18 days of just like, it is so quick that, yeah, you just don't know what's right around the corner.
Yeah, and if the thing is, if you're not acting quick, you'll miss that trend, or you'll miss that. You know, I can guarantee that generative projects in the state that we're seeing them now will die, because people are already bored of them, and there's too many monkeys, you know.
Yeah. And
so what is the next thing?
Exactly, and that's where changing it up, like you said, like I've had some ideas too of sort of a delivery system that I need to flesh out more, that I want to try to like change it up. Not as like, I love your idea. It's nowhere near as developed as your thought, because I love the thought of being able to create the characters. But I've been trying to think, because like I come from the developer side. Like I have like a tiny project where I've done some scroll illustrations, just trying to learn myself how to draw, because I'm not an illustrator. But other than that, like I've been looking at the development side, just trying to see like where are the needs? Like, where's a way that we can help like smaller independent artists, like one-of-one artists, bridge that gap in like a real, like a genuine way. And like your idea is brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Who knows what will happen with it, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's everything. Just it takes time. But once it's sort of rolling, it'll probably change and adjust as you go. So you have some on Tezos, some pieces on Tezos on Hicketnunk, and also on ETH. How do you look at those two different platforms as an artist?
When I first started doing, so at the beginning I was sort of testing out all the different platforms, and I had in my head, my logic was that ETH was for my more I don't want to say better artwork, but the more time consuming, the more detailed, the bigger pieces. And then Tezos was for mucking about,
Yeah.
It was the silly little things that I would never expect someone to pay the equivalent of $500 on, but I could flog it for $20, and that's where I was putting just fun, silly things. And because it is a marketplace that is so easy to get on board with, it's so easy to collect on, it's so easy to play around on, I think that's why I like to put in the silly things that didn't really have a place on Known Origin,
Yeah, definitely. And have you tried Solana at all?
I haven't, no, although people keep telling me I should.
Yeah, I'm very curious about it.
People keep saying I need to get on Wax platforms, and for a while I kept getting questions from people asking why I use Wax. I was like, I don't know what that is.
yeah, probably because of the name. Because I think the Savage Droids puzzle pieces might have been on Wax.
I think they were on Polygon.
Oh yeah, they were.
Yeah,
maybe it was me also just putting Waxbones together and thinking Wax. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, yeah. I don't know anything about that one. About Wax.
Neither.
Yeah.
But what I've seen of Solana is just the negative things, like the rip-off Mechaverse stuff and the rip-off punks. And so I don't really know. I haven't delved into it too much, to be honest.
Yeah, it's still early. Like there isn't like a marketplace. There isn't the open sea of Solana, right. It seems like. So it's really hard to maybe discover projects. I've noticed like where we have collections for, I say we, like we are Ethereum, but like on Ethereum, there's like a collection. So you can be like, oh, I want to look at all of the Bored Apes. Whether they're for sale or not, I can just scroll through and find ones I like and maybe make an offer. It might just be me, but I don't think that Solana has that yet. It seems like you can only find listings on platforms. So like if I own, say it was an ape on Solana, I actually don't know how to show it off yet. And that's just my very new to the space. I haven't really dove into the Solana stuff. I bought a little bit of Solana because I believe in like the blockchain itself. But yeah, it's an interesting time. I'm very curious to see how everything develops in all these platforms.
Yeah, it will be interesting. And like Ethereum 2.0, I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but when it will come and whether it will actually. People say that it will mean gas is much cheaper, but I don't actually know if that's true. Yeah.
In theory it should, but it's interesting too because gas is also used as a rate limiter. So like Ethereum, at least this is my understanding. I could be completely wrong, but I think it's sort of there to be sure there aren't too many transactions that cripples the network. Even though I assume with 2.0 the network might be more efficient, and because it's not proof of work, it's proof of stake, so it would be more efficient. But it's interesting. I'll be very interested. I originally started getting into Ethereum in general just because of what I heard about 2.0, because I do think that'll be like a tipping point into really being like it'll no longer be an energy suck, and it won't be like bad for the environment or things. A lot of the concerns people have should be taken care of. But who really knows? Yeah. So what are you most excited about right now? Is it the generative, or are there other things just about the space that really get you going?
I'm excited about it all. Like there are so many. I know that's a really shitty answer. But
oh no, it makes sense.
There's so much crap out there. Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. There's so much crap out there, but it also makes it easier to see the amazing stuff that people are doing that is innovative. I've seen a lot of games coming into it now, with like the Watcher stuff, Missing Watcher, and Signal Noise has just announced his Starcade stuff, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, you should check that out.
But what does that entail? Just sort of brief.
So his do you know Signal Noise?
No, I don't.
So his art style was very neon retro. It's amazing. Check it out. But he's got these characters, and he's doing a 7,000 generative. But it's somehow, he literally announced it a couple of hours ago. It somehow builds into a video game as well.
Nice.
But so I don't know much about it, but the design is top notch. And then I see a lot of people doing physical like figurines and stuff at the moment, which is really cool. And then all of these meetups and things that are finally allowed to happen.
Yeah.
I think that is, you know what, that's my answer. I'm most excited about actually being able to get out there and meet these people in real life and go to talks and host talks. And
yeah.
I think that's where the real ideas come.
For real. Yeah. Because it is interesting. This all blew up during like lockdown, essentially, like a time when we weren't able to connect in person. But it is going to be so interesting to sort of like pull back the curtain and like finally be able to interact face to face in person and in established communities, which this is a little different. It's a different moment because like I grew up like in this space, like entrepreneurially, like sort of on the internet. Most of my friends have always been online, and we would come together at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas every year. And that was the time we'd all come together, have so much fun. And it was just such a great experience that I'm really excited to see that happen in NFTs. Like I feel like NFT NYC was the first sort of like dipping the toe in the water of that. But so many people aren't able to come because of travel restrictions and all these things that it's still, it's just a tiny subset. But yeah, it's gonna be really fun to see these communities grow in real life as well.
Yeah. I often wonder whether NFTs would have exploded the way that they have done if it weren't for lockdown.
Yeah.
You know, if people weren't forced to talk online and forced to do things in their house, would it have blown up like this? I don't know.
Yeah. And it's interesting because in 2020, I don't know if you ever collected sports cards growing up or Pokemon cards or anything.
Pokemon cards, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All of that exploded. So like this show, I've been always talking to entrepreneurs. That's my main focus, but whatever I'm interested in at the time, I like to sort of shift it over there. So right now it's NFTs. But I had Jeff Wilson, the sports card investor. That's actually like his business and everything. And he built an entire large business around investing in sports cards, helping people with like an app and market, like looking at the market and really treating cards as like almost like stocks. It's such an interesting thing, but it fascinated me to see all of a sudden when NFTs sort of tipped, I guess. It really felt like there might have been a wave coming from card collecting as well. Like it's that nostalgia that then suddenly like it moved online and
definitely.
Yeah.
It's card collecting, it's figure collecting, it's any sort of collecting. I think, you know, people latch onto it, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. And we all want an identity. We have our own identity, but it's nice to sort of connect with people over a shared identity, I guess, whether it's an ape, whether it's Pokemon, whether it's something that we really, we can share and talk about and be nostalgic over, which is wild. Like there's going to be so much nostalgia for 2021 NFTs.
Yeah. And the thought, I mean, people are talking 5 years from now, and I'm thinking, I haven't even been doing this for 1 year, and it feels like I've aged in dog years, you know?
Yeah. Like, and do you say that from like the creator perspective or from like personally?
Both.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is going to be exciting. I think that this is the first time in my lifetime, all of our lifetimes, where the power is in the hands of the creator.
Yeah.
You know, whether they be a developer, whether they be an artist, you know, finally you don't have to pay gallery fees. You don't have to rely on, technically you don't really need to rely on a platform. You could create your own contract and, you know, mint everything. And I think that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. it's like liberating to have full control and a little daunting at the same time, because again, you're building your community. Like it's through, say, Twitter or wherever else, but in theory, it can be through completely separate. Like it could be through an email newsletter, like people who find an artist they love, and you craft a community, or I mean Discord, like it's behind the scenes, it isn't a public thing. So there's so many different ways to do it that it is amazing. It's truly decentralized in many aspects.
Yeah, yeah. Which is why, and I'm probably going to go on a rant now, which is why I feel like influencers or people that identify as influencers within the space are detrimental to the space. I don't feel like, this is my own personal opinion, I don't feel like they need to be telling artists or developers or whoever else how they should be navigating the space, how they should be minting, what they should be doing, when, I mean, they're just a random avatar. Like, I don't know this person, you've got 100,000 followers, that's fine, but what are you really doing for the space? Are you helping anyone? Or actually, are you just making it more, like, are you affecting artists' mental health by telling them that they need to grind 24/7, toxic positivity, telling people everyone's going to make it, you've just got to grind as hard as you can? I don't subscribe to any of that. I think that's bullshit, and I think that the people saying those sort of things are hurting artists and the space as a whole, to be honest.
Yeah, we want to give people hope, but not false hope. Like we want to give them a structure, like give someone a structure to maybe create a better life for themselves. Like I've seen so many like Thai artists that are amazing. Like I don't know what it is about, like, cause there's like a Thai NFT or something like that hashtag where there is just mind-blowing work that's phenomenal, and it's almost exclusively on Hen. It's like usually just like one Tezos, one Tez, and it's just like, wow, like how is that possible? And I've talked to a few people and they've said, oh, I'm trying to build up my sort of income because I couldn't actually make it to Ethereum because like it's a big expense to first mint on even OpenSea because you have to pay gas to sort of connect your wallet. And it is interesting because like you have like the influencers and things, like you said, that is it constructive or is it sort of for personal gain? Or I've seen a lot of the like celebrity influencers now, which it's feeling a little, it's unfortunate because I feel like we're in this gray area again where people aren't disclosing partnerships and sponsorships. And it's like, oh, I'm so-and-so from maybe this professional athlete or whatever. I love this NFT project. I've never talked about any before, but this one I love from my buddy so-and-so. And I'm always like, it's like that. It's a problem. Like you have to disclose, but at the same time, it's so new. The space is so new that it feels like everything is just the Wild West again, which, we can really lead people astray, investing money they don't have to lose into things that so-and-so said, oh, this is going to go to the moon.
Yeah. And I think that I've been asked quite a few times, just because I think my art style would lend itself very well to a generative project. And so I've been asked quite a few times by people if I wanted to be an artist on a certain thing. And they just clearly are in it for a cash grab. Like they want an artist for hire. Yeah. They'd probably use my name, and then I think one of them said, oh, we'll pay you 40 ETH to do this. And when you hear that, you think, wow, that's a lot of money. When you think they're making like 500, 600 ETH if it sells out. Yeah. And then I would be just delivering these artworks to them and then I'm out. I don't want to always be associated. Like, I could probably not retire, but I could quit my job and live comfortably for a few years on that money. But I wouldn't want my name to be associated with something like that.
Well, yeah, because you don't even know where they're going to take that. Like, what does that project become after it's out of your hands? But it's still, it's you. It's an expression of you. So, yeah, and that is a good question then. As the artist, what do you feel like is and this is a sort of, it's tough to answer, but what do you feel like is a fair relationship when it comes to a project where a developer would bring in an artist? Like, what would you like to see?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that because I guess I'm currently navigating those waters and we
Yeah.
haven't really had those discussions yet. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think that if I were to get involved in a project like that, I'd want it to be artist driven because I feel like for me and for my work, that's the unique selling point. Like my style is the unique selling point.
Yeah.
So I don't think it could be anonymous in that way because you'd know.
Oh yeah.
But I appreciate that a developer is doing a lot to. I mean, if they're doing it properly, they're navigating gas wars, they're trying to avoid that sort of thing, they're building a whole new contract. And I'm sure there are tools out there that exist that you can just plug in the elements. But I guess if you're doing it properly, then the developer's probably doing just as much work as the artist. So, I mean, I'm, if the team's right, I'm all for the money being split evenly between everyone. You know, there's going to be a community manager, perhaps there's going to be a creative lead who's doing the whole thing. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm not precious. Like, oh, it's my artwork, so I need at least 80% of the, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
I
lot of pieces that go into it, so it's tough to juggle all of it. And yeah, that's something I've been wondering about, like just talking to people in general, like yourself, and just where is that the sweet spot where everybody gets their just desserts? Because I love the thought that it's a contract. It's if you do 50-50 with developer artist, say, they always both get what they're supposed to receive. Like there's something just so beautiful about that. And so like, okay, we did it, ready to go. Now it just happens. And I love that. But what the appropriate balance is still so up in the air because it's like all about the art and all about everything that happens once the art exists. Like it's like both of those are so important that it's such a murky time to like navigate and figure out just to be sure it's equitable across the board.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these projects are promising roadmaps of things for the next couple of years, you know. So you I don't know how you're making more revenue, or like are you splitting that completely? I don't know. That's why I kind of said if I do any of these things, I'm not going to have a roadmap. Like there might be things in the future, there might not. I don't want to promise anything because I mean, one, I get bored of doing the same thing over and over. Like I feel like if you looked at all my different projects, there's something different going, particularly with my collabs. I could never have a character, like a single character, because I'd just get bored of it too quickly. So like all my collabs, I look at the last one and I go, right, I can't have tentacles in this next one now because this one's got to be completely new, completely different.
Yeah. Do you have just a way to find all the collabs that you've done? Is there any sort of are they in one collection or generally in the collaborators collections?
Yeah, they get minted into the collaborators. I think because, as far as I'm aware, there's only a couple of platforms that actually have split contracts. So Known Origin has a split contract feature.
Oh, nice.
So my Creatures and Friends collection, I did those myself. I designed them, but I said to the creator of the original IP that you own that IP, you designed that, so I wouldn't feel right making money off your character. So let's split the contract 50-50 and let's go from there. And everyone was happy with that. A few people said they were happy for me to mint it and take 100%, but like I feel so because not everyone uses Known Origin, not everyone's on it, most of the time the collabs are minted by the other person and then they will send me half of it or whatever.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I love that though, like that you reached out for the original IP and said, okay, this is what I want to do. Like I want to split it because it's so important. And just like we were talking about, it's finding the way to be equitable to everyone because there are so many people involved. And yeah, I love that you're doing that. And
I mean, those are like someone else's characters. I didn't want to just do it, you know. I wouldn't. I think I designed the first few, so I think I did like Savage Dogs, I did Habibi, I did I did Evol
Mhm.
for Kid A and a few other things, and I went to those people and said, hey, I just like messaged them directly. I said, hey, I've done this. I won't share it on Twitter. I won't like mint it. I won't do anything without your permission. Like, this is your artwork. It's your character. And everyone's been very, very kind about everything, you know.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
think that has formed relationships with all these people. Like, I've hung out with Kid 8 in real life.
Nice.
You know, I chat to some of the other guys. Obviously, I'm doing the Savage Droid stuff as well. So I think that just doing stuff for fun has opened a lot of doors for me.
Absolutely. That's what I like to talk about on this show too, is the action creates opportunity. So
Yeah.
like if you're doing good work and being a good person at the same time, like not trying to scam people or anything, which like, yeah, you're doing everything in support of the rest of the community. And that's how you build like a really great, tight knit, supportive community. So yeah, I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's fun. And I think I keep trying to remind myself that this is supposed to be a laugh. This is a dream. Like, people dream of doing this for a living, for their life. And if I could draw stupid snakes and skulls and slimy mechs and whatever for the rest of my life, that would be insane.
Uh-huh. Yeah, is such an opportunity.
Yeah, but for the time being, I'm just having fun with it, you know, just meeting new people. At the moment, I'm really into collaborating with 3D artists, because obviously I'm 2D, thick black lines and stuff. I love trying to find a 3D artist and make something that feels coherent. Like the Hopper, I don't know if you saw the Hopper piece I did with Shaka Blood.
I don't think I did.
It was he does these 3D, they're kind of like robot bunny things. They're so intricate, they're amazing. But we went back and forth for a few weeks trying to work out how we would blend the styles on it. The piece is mad. I love it.
Nice.
It's one of my
take a look.
things that I've done.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, so this has been great. I don't want to take too much of your time, but
I could chat all night.
Oh yeah, yeah, it really is. It's a great time. Like, we'll definitely be keeping in touch after this for sure. I can just like, it's just like, you know, you click with someone and I'm like, okay, no, this is.
I need to get your hair tips as well. Do you condition as well? Or?
Always condition twice. That's the rule, right? I don't know. I don't have any rules. No, but this is awesome. So like for people to follow along and see everything you're up to, where should we send them?
Twitter. Twitter/Waxbones is the best way. I'm working with a friend of mine to put together a Discord, because it seemed like the people that follow me want it. Oh, yeah. So, but I don't know how to use Discord, so I'm getting my friend to sort it all out. He's got some like custom code and things to help with bots and all that jazz. Nice. So we should have that set up in the next week or so. But mainly Twitter is where I am.
Awesome. Yeah, Discord is such a key part of the space. It's interesting because I've always been I didn't want to join Discords just because I was like, that is like a fire hose of just people talking all the time. How do I do it? And it took the longest time. So I'd come from like a minimalist background and like really like keeping things simple is my approach. And I just realized it's the kind of thing I can open the door, step into the party, and then be like, okay, I'll see ya. Like I had to like frame it that way. Otherwise, I'm like, I'm missing out here. I'm missing out there. But yeah, so many great connections and stuff are built in Discord. That's going to be awesome for you to have one, to have your collectors come together and meet new people, meet one another. It's going to be great. I love that. Yeah,
and it's going to be a nice place where I can keep people informed. You know, you lose things in Twitter when you're just chatting shit with someone, you know. So it would be nice to have somewhere, and I don't want it to be complicated. I don't want loads of channels. Just something really simple. But he's going to sort that out for me.
Nice.
So that's very nice of him.
Yeah, that's perfect. But thanks again. I want to thank Cal for joining me on this episode. Be sure to follow along with everything he's up to at Waxbones on Twitter, and I guarantee you're going to love his work. It's just amazing. I really, really like what he's doing. Again, that's Waxbones on Twitter. As always, this episode of Starting Now is brought to you by Built. At Built, we help you get started online. Whether you want to start a blog or a business, head on over to built.co. That's BYLT.co to get started. Built, your website, built for you, simply. Finally, if you're enjoying the show, I would love it if you subscribe on YouTube. Give us a little thumbs up. Hit that bell if you want to be notified every Thursday when the new episode drops. And leave a comment or reply to me on Twitter at replyme. My username on Twitter is just Jeff Sarris. Just let me know you're out there. I love hearing from people, and everyone's just been so kind, and I really am grateful for all the kind words that you all have said. And I don't know, just really makes my day. So that'll do it for this week. Again, I'm Jeff Sarris. This has been Starting Now, and I'll see you next time.